What's happening here? Why are you down here today?
Well, we're making history.
People is in the street protesting against 62 years of repression by the Cuban dictatorship. So they are being beaten in the street, they are taken to jail, and there have been 5 dead till now.
All people are on the streets dying. They are protesting for the first time in more than 60 years.
The Cuban people are mad, and they're making themselves heard in Canada. Let's listen to what they have to say. I just want to know what things are about here. So I still don't know about the protests. I just saw it from my balcony, thought I would go down and ask people. So what's happening? What's
Okay, so what's happening in Cuba, it's a dictatorship that has been going on for 62 years. So because we have been fighting this silently for 62 years, and this is the first time that Cubans are on the streets. This is why we're calling on their attention, especially of the Canadian government, because the Canadian government is accomplice with the Cuban government and the Cuban dictatorship, if I can call it so. So a lot of people, one thing that I really want to clarify right at the beginning is that people are saying that we're protesting against the embargo. But the embargo has nothing to do with the actual problems that we have. Cuban people are hungry, Cuban people are dying, Cuban people have no medicine, Cuban people have no food. And actually the embargo allows the Cuban government to buy food and to buy medicine. So the problem that we're facing right now has nothing to do with the embargo. What we want is a democracy, and if we have achieved that democracy, the Cuban people will be able to trade with the Americans, so we can have businesses and there will be no embargo. So it is very important that Canada recognize that Cuba has a dictatorship. They have not been able to say it that clear, and we are demanding Trudeau and the government officials of Canada to say that Cuba is under a dictatorship.
You said 62 years of oppression. That's crazy. And why do you think the Cuban people are starting to protest now? What's happening? What pushed them to go to the street?
Okay, right now it's because the situation is so bad, even bad than before. There was something similar in 1994 where people in Havana went to the streets because of the situation. There were no food like now. There were everything was missing. The lines for buying products was extremely large, and the lack of freedom was just like today. But now the interesting thing is that it happened in many cities of the country. Okay, almost all municipal, I don't know the word, cities in the country have had this kind of manifestation against the Cuban government, and we have to understand that we have been under a big pressure, psychological, since we are kids in the street. We are learning that the communist is invincible, that you cannot be free, that you have to give everything for the collective and for the revolution and things like that. But right now, thanks to the information that has been bringing for social media and that kind of things, the people have started to understand that they have right and that they are free, and that's very important. It's the first time I see we are all very emotional about it. So look at all these people. This is an expression of that, of what is happening in our country right now.
Well, we're making history today. What's happening right now is that Cubans are losing fear, not only in Cuba, but outside of Cuba. So we're fighting to defeat the dictatorship that's been happening in Cuba for the last 62 years.
I was wondering, are there people in Cuba who are a bit who are not completely allied with you, maybe from fear or from something else? And if there are, what would you like to say to those people, or like even Cubans in Canada, or are there just not? And is it a global movement?
Well, it's like everywhere. People actually differ of their own beliefs. It depends. People in Cuba are afraid. It's been so long, generations, with that brainwash sort of fear, and now it's gonna take some time in order to go back to that state where you can fight for your rights, or for that it's right. So right now, many things are outside of Cuba saying like, oh, we're fighting because of to end the blockade or the embargo that the United States has imposed us, right, for so long. But this is not about it. It is about to be free. Like, we want to be free. We want to have like free elections. We want to have our own rights. We want to have many parties that we feel like having, democracy. We want to have democracy, even if it's a lie. At least pretend that you have a democracy. Don't say that you have a democracy and you have only one party. So that is not a democracy.
Well, it's a classic move of any dictator. Like, it happens in all dictatorships. Like, it's we're the People's Republic, or we're a democracy, or something like that.
People in Cuba. So answering your question, to those people in Cuba, I just want to say, it's never too late. Yes, you might defend that because of your fear doesn't let you see beyond that. But at the end, we're all gonna win. In the new Cuba, we have a place for you too, because then you could be you. You don't have to answer to anybody's interest.
So right now, at this very minute, actually, another thing that I forgot to say is that there is no internet. They cut off the internet for the entire country, so you cannot know what's happening, how many people are dying, and how the protests are going on. So people are connecting to the internet through a VPN and things like that, trying to get these protests out. But we don't know what's happening right at this minute.
And how can people in Canada, do you think, normal people in Canada, how do you think they can make it so that there's pressure on people so that they actually come out against the dictatorship? What do you think people should do?
So people should inform themselves, first of all, because a lot of people have this idea that Cuba is this beautiful place, that Cuba has this, we are so Pacific and that we're fine. But it is very important that we understand that we need the international community to recognize what we're going through. So what they can go is they can go on Twitter and hashtag SOS Cuba. They can inform themselves. They can read about what the actual embargo is. They can read about what we need and what we're going through, what we have been going through for the last 62 years, and inform themselves. The first important and the first step is that they can inform themselves and talk to actual Cubans, because they talk to other foreigners, and that's not what it is. You have to talk to an actual Cuban, so you understand what we go through, what we have been going through, and you stop speculating about this situation.
That's what we're fighting for: the freedom of speech, human rights, liberty, democracy, what we here in Canada are able to enjoy.
If I can ask, why do you think mainstream media are not exposing it? Is it against their interests?
That's a hard one to say. It makes me question. It really makes me question their political stance. I really couldn't tell you. All I know is that yesterday we protested as well. They started saying that the reason for our protest was due to COVID-19. And so we walked to CBC, and within 55 minutes, they changed the story and they clarified that we were there protesting for the freedom and liberty and democracy of the Cuban people.
I now have an understanding of what's happening in Cuba, what the problem is. What do you think the solution is? What do you think people can do here or in Cuba to solve our problem?
Well, we're demanding media to cover what is happening, to tell the real history of Cuba. Yeah. We want them to cover all social media with what is really happening. Mm-hmm. We want them to say, we want them to investigate. We want them to see, because we already know that. Yeah. We want them to see how the government tell the military forces to go out and shoot at all people. Yeah. We want them to know that this is what is really happening. The government is saying that they do have medicine. That's a lie. They don't have medicine. They don't have food. They don't have absolutely nothing, and they're going against our people. They're going on the street and beating other people. They're shooting our people. That's what we wanted to know. And the way that they can help us is just like covering on social media, keep tagging Justin Trudeau. We're asking for help. We need supplies. We are asking him to please to provide us medicines, food supplies, and any kind of international help for them because they're suffering right now.
Yeah. And for people who don't know about this and who are just sitting in their apartment now, they see this, they don't know what it is. What do you have to say to get people interested, get people? I know it's a tough question. Get people invested in this. What do you think we can do?
First of all, I wanted to make this clear. This is not about COVID. The people that are here, it's not about COVID. This is not about masks. We're asking you to please help us because our people, they have nothing to eat. They have no medicines. And the government is telling the military forces to go out and shoot at them. So we want you to please listen to us. We're saying the truth. Social media is not saying the truth. They're not saying what is really happening. They're just saying that the COVID cases, they went up. Yes, they went up. But guess what? They have no medicine. And the government is letting the people die because the government is denying that they have no medicines. So we ask you to see the reality that all of these people that are here are trying to show it to you. All people are on the streets dying. They are protesting for the first time in more than 60 years because they were in fear. They were in fear because they knew that if this happened, then the government were going to kill you, what is happening right now. But there is no more fear. No hay más miedo. They are on the streets and they're fighting. They're fighting for their freedom. We want the freedom for Cuba.
Well, thank you. I can't ask for more convincing than that, so thanks a lot. That's great to see, and thanks for educating people about this because a lot of people don't know this in Canada and it seems like it's something people should know. So thank you for your time and thanks for the interview.
Fuad, and the name of the channel?
It's still under processing.
Okay.
I go.
So you have
Thanks
to
a lot.
listen this channel, okay? This is the best channel in the world.
You hear them first. Can you say subscribe?
And please subscribe to this channel, this particular channel. He's going to tell the name after because they're working on it, you know?
Exactly. Thanks a lot. That's great. Thank you.